And we're live.
Good morning. Welcome to Marketing Over Coffee. I'm John Wall.
I'm Christopher Penn.
And you've done planes, trains, automobile. I actually joked yesterday. The only thing I didn't see was a yak in there, I think.
Yeah, that's really about it. There's not much else.
Well, that's good. Any excitement learned? I did see an excellent hamburger on the road. That was probably the big win.
That was yeah. So it was my first time going to Bentonville, Arkansas, which is known as the home of Walmart. It's actually interesting. It's as a city, you think Arkansas, you don't think like thriving metropolis, but it was amazing flying in there. Everything, the entire ecosystem, unsurprisingly, is based around Walmart. But you have thousands of companies setting up shop there. Multi-million-dollar housing developments with 18-hole golf courses in the middle of them. It's the works. It's like going to White Plains, New York, or something where everybody's getting to New York City, except here everyone is clustering on Bentonville. So it was really fabulous. But yeah, the highlight of the trip, in addition to meeting great people and speaking, was they make phenomenal burgers down there.
That's yeah. Run the bell. Well, and people have said it's no coincidence that Bill Clinton came out of Arkansas when you have Walmart. I think Tyson Chicken is over there, and there's two or three other.
Yep, Baby Hunt is there.
So it's definitely a hotbed of industry. It's kind of a next generation, one of the first non-port cities to explode on the scene.
Totally.
So we've had a bunch of stuff. There's been, for some reason, everybody and their brother has had a book in the past 2 months. So we've had like 10 shows in the feed. This is the first chance we've got to catch up on a whole bunch of stuff. It's just been a crazy couple of weeks. I mean, IPO and fundraising stuff has just been ridiculous. I think the one that I liked the most, I saw WordPress raising 160 million. Matt over there saying that just this is really to grow the business, so that's pretty exciting. I put that one on the top of the list. How about you? Is there other stuff on the list that acquisition binge?
Acquisitions? I don't think there's anything that caught my eye. I mean, this has been so much traffic in terms of acquisitions and rumored acquisitions and things falling apart. The one thing I will say it's been really interesting is there's this app on the iPhone called Secret that has been the darling of Silicon Valley, and among other things, the usual stuff that you expect people to say in anonymous forums that are what we colloquially call the PPC categories. But there's a lot of rumors coming in and out of Silicon Valley, and I'd say probably half of them are actually valid. So it's worth, if you want to keep your eye on what's happening in the valley. It's definitely one of the apps to use.
Oh, now that's interesting. Can you geofence it and say you just want stuff from the alley or keywords or anything?
No, it relies on the context that you have in your phone's address book. That's how it determines whose updates to show you and stuff. It's anonymous. You don't know whose the update is. But if you happen to have an abnormally high concentration of VCs and Valley CEOs, say you got it from data.com and you added it to your phone's phone book, then you'll get the news bias to a certain area. So again, if you wanted to focus on Wall Street, you could do the same thing with a Wall Street list. Just put it in your phone's address book, and now suddenly the world is yours.
That's interesting. Yeah, see, now I had totally written that off because, I mean, once in a while now I see some interesting stuff come through. But my thing was, the last thing I'm interested in is angst-filled teens talking about, having a chance to vent about killing their classmates and things like that. I'm just of no use. But that's pretty cool because I'm sure there are some whistleblowers and some interesting behind-the-scenes stuff that gets floated there. So that's pretty cool.
Yep. You heard it here first, and we're not putting it in the notes of the show.
Yeah, no, exactly right. That's an audio-only one for folks that are here and hanging out. Okay, so tell me about tracking and location stuff. Is it Foursquare splitting into multiple companies? I don't know. My initial gut was like, well, they're not doing that well with one app, so is splitting into two going to help them out?
Yeah, I don't know. I get the whole idea of unbundling it to have different functionalities, but yeah, I think that the location game was lost a while ago, and the whole thing about the change in mayorship to being the mayor among your friends kind of defeats the point of a public social network. I mean, if you want to be like, I am the mayor of the shop, well, yeah, I can be the mayor of any place where my friends don't regularly go. It doesn't mean anything anymore.
Right. Yeah. No. I think you're right on the mark. There is kind of some kind of cachet to being the mayor of across the space. But all right, well, that's good. Sounds like our gut is the same on that. You had a Wall Street Journal on social media and hiring, some interesting stuff over there. What was that about?
Yeah, they said they had an infographic between the Journal and Career Builder on what percent of hiring managers are using social media to vet candidates in advance, and it is 39% of companies surveyed said they use social networking sites to research job candidates in 2013. 43% of hiring managers have found information that caused them to not hire a candidate. The most popular network they checked out: Facebook 65%, LinkedIn 63%, and the things that they identified as being harmful to your chances of not getting the call. Candidate posted provocative or inappropriate photos or information, 50%. Information about drinking or using drugs, 48%. Bad mouthing of previous employer, 33%. So sort of the top three things. I don't know about you. I do a lot of hiring. A lot of my hiring and a lot of the candidates here at the agency are all millennials and stuff. And I almost worry if I don't see, I don't want me like, I'm setting the boss's car on fire with but I mean like regular party photos. I worry that if you don't have that, either you're following someone's personal branding book too closely, which means you're gullible, or you're an axe murderer, and that's all you do. So there's nothing to see. I expect to see some party photos.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's more suspicious if you're working very hard to keep it clean all the time. That's definitely more raising more red flags than having a couple pictures of you and your buddies throwing back some beers on the weekend or something. That's
especially if you actually care about people being well-rounded. You want to see other stuff in their feed. It's like, okay, this person has a life.
Right, they have friends. This is a good sign. You know what? A lone wolf is something you need to avoid in your screening process. An interesting point I had heard in an interview earlier this week was talking about buyers. So you get a call from a sales rep of some sort, right? And people don't realize sales reps are using LinkedIn to track recruiters and other companies, and they don't realize that their prospects look them up. And as soon as they see quota crusher and all these, I'm going to hound you till you die, basically messages, it kills deals for them. So I thought that was kind of a turning the tables and forcing people to know what's going on.
That's interesting. I hadn't heard that. That's pretty cool that the sales guys are giving themselves away as being like, I'm the most annoying jackass.
Yeah, or it's just like people that will close a deal with you and would sell their mother to do it. Suddenly this is not like perhaps the kind of guy you want to be hanging out with in your free time, or your odds are you're not going to get the best deal going.
Yeah. I would say if folks are concerned, one of the things that would help is if you set up a Facebook page for yourself as opposed to your personal profile. Then you can make keep your personal profile friends only stuff and have your public facing page out there. That works really well. You can do the same thing for LinkedIn, although I can't imagine why you'd want to. You may want to have a separate Twitter account and stuff like that. Like I know a couple of folks in the office here have personal Twitter accounts that does not personally identify them as who they are in real life. That's where they post the good stuff. So I think that's personally fine. One thing I'd be interesting to see though is I don't know if there's data on this or not, and maybe you've heard something, is what percentage of like discrimination and bias cases have gone up or down, because you look at somebody's profile photo on LinkedIn or Facebook, whatever, if you happen to have a bias or a prejudice against a religion or a race, that kind of knocks you out before you even get a chance to get in the door.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. In fact, I have heard some, in HR circles, people talking about, is it even legal to have trolling Facebook and other social networks as part of your screening process? And I mean, I was going to say I hate to be cynical, but no, I don't hate to be cynical. And HR departments look for stuff like that. If you're an HR consultant, like that's exactly the kind of stuff you want. That's a whole educational series for 2 years. How what can you do in social networks as part of recruiting? But yeah, I think it's a real bias. I don't know. My whole take on that is it is eventually about transparency. I mean, they are going to figure out what you look like eventually. So if they're that kind of person that's, has those stupid biases, then, it gets you out of the loop faster. It prevents you from having to deal with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if a guy's gonna be a racist, I don't really want to work for him anyway.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's kind of people are going to get the employees they deserve if they're going to behave like that. So, I think you posted something earlier this week that I just laughed at. if you're really a capitalist, you could care less if they're even human, as long as they're bringing in the money. You know.
Exactly. If the robot can close more deals than you, I'm hiring the robot.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's the sad part of it too. Is in some cases and of course then on the flip side of the coin too, I did go to a street festival here in town this week, and I have to admit I was worried if I should start hoarding food and guns based on the average crowd, but that's neither here nor there. Let's see. Oh, you had another funny one about, well, not funny, but it seemed to be interesting as far as comparing strategies to restaurants.
Yeah, so this is something that's come up repeatedly. I've been seeing a lot of stuff on social media and a lot of folks in marketing talking about, here's our strategy for this, and really what they're posting is not a strategy. So I came up with an analogy to help the folks here at the office out, and I think it's worth sharing. When there are like levels of staff at a restaurant, right? There's like the new guy in the kitchen who's just slicing onions. Like, your job is slice the onions, and that's all you do, right? And then you have the line chefs who are just like, okay, I'm making burgers, following the recipe, making burgers. You have the sous chef who is kind of overseeing stuff. Then you have the chef who puts together the menu, the experience, right, that the diner has. And you have the executive chef who's just out there creating wild new stuff, like, hey, I'm going to take basil, bacon, and caramel, and what can I do with all these things? And that kind of maps to how we look at strategy and stuff. If you think about it, you have the executors in the marketing department. These are the folks who are pushing the button, tweeting, this is the person who sends the email. Then you have the tactical people who know how to do something. Then at the strategic level, you have someone who knows what to do. And then at the grand strategy and the big picture level, you have someone who decides why you're even going to do these things. Sort of like how Simon Sinek, who we've had on the show, phrases things. But it's kind of a neat way of saying, look, if you are reading online on social network site of the day about something that reads like a recipe from a cookbook, like a marketing cookbook almost, then you're reading tactics. If you're reading a menu, which is the experience and the end goal, then you're reading strategy. And it's an easy way of differentiating between the two, because a lot of times what gets called strategy or recipe is like, that's not a strategy. Bacon and eggs is not a strategy. Breakfast is the strategy. What you serve for breakfast is the tactics.
That's cool. That's a nice identifier. Yeah, because it tends to get a little bit squishy as far as what people refer to as, yeah, like you said, a lot of times people say it's strategies, but really it's just tactics. It's manipulations or tricks or procedures. It's not your strategy, your big picture. So that's cool. And of course, another bold strategy is to be a world-class copywriter. And whether you're an occasional scribe, part-time wordsmith, or an acclaimed content creator, writing is a skill that every marketer needs to master. You can turn yourself into a lean, mean writing machine with Marketing Profs University's if I can get it out, Marketing Writing Bootcamp starting June 12th. These 16 classes are available online 24/7 with one goal in mind: to make you a better marketing writer. You can visit mprofs.com/coffee. Use the promo code coffee when you enroll. That'll save you $200. So again, this offer has worked out great for us. It's been very successful, and yeah, my gut is that $200 off is a big part of it, because this is not enter to win $5 or something. This is hard-earned cash you can throw down on the line. So.
Absolutely. And then once you're done with the marketing writing bootcamp, you put all those skills to use in the What Counts email marketing platform, which is a superior design, deliverability, and reporting. And if you are listening, you can get the white paper that I wrote called 57 Tips to Grow Your Email List over at whatcounts.com/coffee. You do need to put the www in because of technical reasons.
All right, that sounds good. So back to back, we've got that. Yeah, I'm very excited. It's been a full tilt quarter for us here, and so everybody's been happy. The show's doing well. Thanks to everybody listening for working with and looking into our sponsors, because they make this possible as far as the bandwidth costs that crush us and the fact that health insurance is killing me. So that's the big word there. Apple buying Beats. What's your angle on that? What do you think?
It's interesting. What some of the commentary I've read was saying they're buying the streaming service. The headphones are subpar, but that seems to be the thing, is getting that passionate listener community, because iTunes Radio took off. It's sort of like the number 3 streaming service, but it's not. It lacks the sexiness of the Beats community.
Yeah, I think it. I don't know. It does surprise me a lot, though, to see Apple buying a cool company, basically because of the cool factor.
Yeah, it's a change. It's definitely a big change to them compared to just sort of doing it themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Because they pretty much have always been of the don't brag about it at all. And I think that we've seen too more just marketing and digital advertising from them. So they're definitely kind of um, the big question is, does that come at the expense of any of the product? But I don't know. They have such a huge cash war chest. It's not like with other companies you could say, oh, they've dumped so much money into advertising that it's going to affect everything else. Like you can't make that argument. So.
Yeah, and the other thing that a lot of folks are speculating on is that their wearable fitness tracker is going to be the headphones themselves, not something on your wrist, because they already make the headphones. They have the product in house, and it's a something that's a logical thing to wear while you're working out anyway.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's very interesting to see. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if like Fitbit and the Flex and some of these other wearable products just get completely wiped out once the next generation of Apple stuff comes out. Because if they tie into headphones and the actual phone you're already using, suddenly that hardware all goes away. So.
Someone was saying it was on. I think it was a Read Write that said that Apple actually telegraphed their move towards fitness headphones a while back. They said if you notice, I think it was when the iPhone 5 first came out. A lot of people were like, "Why did you move the headphone jack to the bottom of the phone?" And the speculation is it got people used to plugging the headphones in there, so that when they come out with the Lightning connector for the headset, you're used to plugging it in about the same place.
That's interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because that does. It's funny. It's an interesting usability thing. Like, because a lot of times I run with it strapped on my arm, and it's literally you're in an upside down position with it, and the headphones coming out of the wrong end. So, yeah, yeah. Very some interesting stuff. Hopefully, we'll see something by the end of the year on that. It would be fun to see where that's going to go and where it's coming out of. Let's see. I have an article, a link folks can check out about the Oracle Marketing Cloud, which is Eloqua Compendium Responses, Blue Kai, all strung together if you want to read more about that and what that's all about. Oh, Amazon Tweet to Shop. You had a link to that. I saw that and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting, but didn't get to dig in. What's this all about?
Yeah, you basically tag something with Amazon cart as a hashtag, and then Amazon will attempt to add it to your shopping cart so you can go buy it from them. So if you're tweeting about a certain product or something like that, or other people can tweet about it and then add it to their stuff. One of the things I was surprised at is in the implementation. Twitter doesn't seem to be getting anything out of it, because I tested it when it first was announced, and it wasn't appending like a Twitter, an Amazon Associates affiliate code to it or not. I mean, they may have changed that since then, but I thought that was an odd thing for them to do, to not try to make some incremental revenue on it.
Yeah, yeah, no, it would be easy for them to just overwrite the link and jump on that. Um, yeah, I'll have to play with that. And there is the concern of spoofing and being able to fill up somebody's cart with all kinds of goodies that they have no interest in or whatever.
Huh. So we see B2B confessions.
If you see a gift package show up in your shopping cart, you'll know where those came from.
Oh, now I got to go experiment with that.
Yeah, I know. It seems to. There must be a trick to it. So, did you set up? Did you have to actually go? You must have to go into your Amazon account and say, "Hey, I want this to work, and here's my Twitter name and all that." Or
Yeah, I got to play with it some more, because I just tried it casually and stuff. I'm going to hammer on it, because
all right.
I want to see, maybe there's a way to play with that with the API.
Yeah, so that's a great plug then to remember to sign up for both the Marketing Over Coffee newsletter and the Christopher S. Penn newsletter, because all the really good secrets we only publish there. We don't give them out to the whole world, so that they still work for a couple months after we've blown the whistle on them. Let's see. So this one I thought of you, Working to Video Game Music, an article over, was it Fast Company, I think that, but it was just interesting talking about how, as opposed to listening to electronic music, which is kind of all the rage, video game music is, kind of clearly designed to keep you moving forward at a fixed pace. So a link to that, some interesting stuff you can check out. But that, yeah, is that pretty much at the heart of many of your playlists, or what?
No, most of my playlists are, they tend to be classical music or pseudo-classical music. So this is one group called Epic Score that does they do contract work for music for movie trailers. So like they have the action adventure pack, the drama pack, and stuff like that. And the action adventure pack is, if you remember the score to the movie The Rock. It's all music that is great to work to. Never ever play it in your car. You'll find yourself going like 130 miles down the road, an hour down the road, because like it does absolutely keep moving forward. I could see that, but I could also see the video game stuff. If it's a game you've played, being very distracting because now you want to go play the game instead.
That's the problem I have with a lot of music. It's actually I have to kind of limit the playlist a lot because certain music that I love, if I played it, that's it. I just don't concentrate on my work. I'm listening to music. So
Exactly. Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville sort of top of the lake. If you want to check out on a Friday afternoon, just play that song and you're done for the rest of the day.
yeah, so that's true. Here we are on a Friday. That I can get exactly what you're talking about with that. All right. Well, I'll throw this out because this was good. I mean, we're running out of time here, but cord cutters on average downloading over 200 gigabytes a month, which is totally unsurprising, but I just hadn't thought of, that's a lot of data. I mean, there was a time not long ago where for 200 gigabytes you'd pay a ton of money, and now it's getting pumped everywhere. And I did some interesting stuff this week just coming out with, I guess, kind of a moderate approval, like a 3 to 5 decision, talking about fast lane internet. So net neutrality taking a hit, basically. Have you been watching anything on this front? Anything interesting?
Yeah, the FCC is rightfully getting a lot of pushback on it because it's just incredibly stupid. And, the idea of making some packets faster than others. I mean, you can do that yourself anyway with a router that supports quality of service. So I would anticipate that. If providers start playing games like that, to expect an army of geeks to basically start adding wiring to basically treat those companies as damage to the internet and to start routing around them.
Yeah, because it is. It just seems like opening up a Pandora's box of more fees than anyone else would ever want to get access to or have to deal with. So,
yeah, I will be waiting for Google to roll out more on its dark fiber network. If stuff like that happens, the first thing I would expect Google to do is it's like, hey, you want a terabit internet? We just happen to have 3,000 miles of fiber that we're happy to open up for you.
Yeah, John Jantz was talking about that last week. I had it when we rolled that interview there. He's got Google Fiber in his neighborhood in Kansas City, and he's getting like 900 down. I mean, it's just totally insane. And yeah, suddenly when you're talking those kinds of numbers, 200 gig a month is not a big deal. That's just kind of price of admission. So,
and you do not want to encourage Google to go into the bandwidth market, because if they do, they will crush all the providers.
Well, I look at my bills and I'm like, somebody deserves some crushing. That's for sure. Because
that's the truth.
It's insane that for what I pay per month, I can go to and I don't know if I've thrown this out. Some Starbucks are using Google Wi-Fi. I was at a Starbucks up in on the North Shore, and I was getting 50 megabit down, on a shared Wi-Fi connection at a coffee shop. So I don't know. The revolution may be coming, so that's good news.
Can't come fast enough.
All right, that'll do it for this week. Until next week, enjoy the coffee.
Enjoy the coffee.